What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting Tsareena in VGC. And the reason we are doing that today is because I think it has a pretty interesting niche in the meta at the given moment, thanks to this ability called Queenly Majesty, which of course you remember is, you're denying the opponent's priority moves. And that's a very, very good ability to have right now in Regulation C, because there's so many things right now that have priority. Okay, and you kind of have to remember what Tsareena is able to give you in terms of like its move sets, but also look at its stats. And the reason also why we're covering Tsareena is because if you can use this to its fullest extent in a tour, then it can actually do relatively well. And we have some evidence of that right here in the Durant's VGC Meta Weekly Tour, and it was won by one of our good friends, Tutti Frutti. And in the winning team, there is a Tsareena, hence the title of this video. We'll take a look at what set the Tsareena is running here. But again, it's interesting to see that Tsareena is on a tournament-winning VGC team, especially in a format like this, right? Which makes a lot of sense because it fills in that niche role in terms of what you want it to do. So what can Tsareena give you, all right? So first of all, you're going to get some grass moves. Of course, the Power Whip is a given here. But then you get access to other stuff like Play Rough, okay? And Play Rough is really good against some of the dragons that are running around. If I were to just list some of them right here, you got the Dragonite. Of course, you have the Roaring Moon, as far as like one of the Paradox Pokemon. Then you even have the Garchomps that are still running around a little bit. And now even the Dragapults are starting to rise a little bit more. Because it feels pretty good next to Chien Pao, by the way. But more on Dragon Ball in another video. But look at this. You're able to just pin some of these slots here with the Play Rough. Fairy. Although it's not a stat move, it's still able to do a pretty big chunk to all of these mons, right? And then from there, you even can have the Back Scalper, arguably the most used of the 5 dragons that we have here. I should even do that, like the 5 dragons within regulationC. But now that you also have a move against some of these dragons, now what else can you do with Play Rough? Well, if you take a look at the 4 Treasures of Ruin Mon, right? Wo-Chien, all right, Chien Pao, of course. Then you have Ting-Lu, and then the last one, the fish, right? Chi-Yu, okay? First of all, the Tsareena, in terms of matching up with Wo-Chien, actually has somewhat of a favorable matchup just because you have access to Play Rough and you're a grass type. So now, the Leech Seed stuff, is not going to be able to work that well. And then of course you have super effective move of Play Rough. You also get access, by the way, to U-turn. Okay, so U-turn is also pretty cool in the bug coverage against some of these dark types. But again, it's kind of like double duty where you just have this for the dark types and now you also have this for the dark types. So either one run or the other, I would say, or even like another fighting move. Like this also gets access to high jump kick. And then what you can also now do is just run Assault Vest on this thing, and now you just have like pretty good coverage overall on your Tsareena in terms of what you wanted to do. But I think you can just honestly go for Protect in this last slot over here, and then just go with something like a Citrus Berry or some kind of maybe even the Clear Amulet, just so that you don't get intimidated. But some recovery item is really good. And then just make this thing relatively bulky. But in terms of the Chien Pao, again, you're able to just either use the Play Rough and then just smash it. The Ting-Lu, same idea. Super effective damage. And again, you're a grass type, so you're able to deal grass type damage with your Power Whip against the Ting-Lu. So there's an advantage there. All right. And then the Chi-Yu is the only one where you have to be concerned a little bit about. But again, if you're running the Assault Vest variant, you have a chance. And we can also technically EV the Tsareena to be able to take care of the Chi-Yu. So what if I did this, right? Let's say I pretty much almost max my HP. I may go Adamant over here, right? Just maybe the first bump. And then how much special defense do I need to be able to survive? Like, let's say a Heat Wave, 252 investment Chi-Yu, right? So let's take a look at the damage calculator over here. I actually have it set up. Okay, some of them are relatively timid just because they need the speed boost. And if you go for Heat Wave, it turns out that if you can just invest about 132 SPDF with this 244 HP mark, you can at least live the Chi-Yu Heat Wave. And again, this is without the Assault Vest, right? So if you just go 132, something like this, and then from there, maybe about 98, yeah, and then the rest just goes into defense. So after like Tailwind, you're able to at least outspeed maybe another opposing Talonflame who didn't click Tailwind yet, and then, just be faster than it. But this is just like a general bulky Tsareena set that I would give here. That is meant to function with Tailwind. If you want, you can go a little bit more and then just go to something like 103 or actually no, 104 just to outspeed a bundle under Tailwind. But again, I digress. You're still able to take at least one heat wave from a Chiyu. Granted, it's not a choice specs tier or maybe even like a life orb Chiyu, but still you're able to outspeed a Chiyu. So anyway, at least 3 of the 4 you can do relatively well, right? So there's the advantage there. And then you can also consider, you know, what else can Tsareena give me? Well, again, you're a grass type, right? So if you take a look at some 2 Pokemon, actually we'll take a look at 3 Pokemon that are running around on people's teams, okay? Especially on those balanced teams, Arcanine, Amoonguss, and Palafin. First of all, Palafin, you know, again, you have all these water moves like Jet Punch and Wave Crash. What's that doing to Tsareena? Nothing. Then you just click Power Whip and then you just smash the Palafin. Amoonguss, again, the only thing it can really do is just click Pollen Puff, which I guess is a relatively good move in that regard. But at least, you know, you can disregard the Rage Powder because you're a grass type as well as the Spore stuff. So at the very least, you have that going for you. And the Arcanine, now, the Tsareena, what you can do also is just go like Terra Fire here, just to be able to resist a Flare Blitz. That does make you weak to the Palafin, but again, just 2 different scenarios. But you do have this option of going for Terra Fire and then just being able to resist the Flare Blitz stuff from the Arcanine. And again, like I said, you are also able to have access to Clear Amulet so you don't get intimidated, but I think the Citrus Berry is just a little bit more. So you do relatively okay if you do activate your Terra into 3 of these options, right? So that's also pretty nice in terms of what we can give from Tsareena. And again, if we're looking at its stats, like base 72 HP is not a whole lot, but 120 attack is actually pretty good. It's actually very, very good. It's above average. And then the bulk, you know, in terms of defense and special defense, it's basically 100, right? So then if you just max its HP and invest in a little bit in its bulk, then it's actually relatively bulky and can deal with a bunch of chip damage, right? So you have that going for you. And then if you just think of some of the other Paradox models, like Great Tusk, for example, I forgot to mention this when I was doing like some of my matchups, but the Tsareena is also able to, again, click a Power Whip into the Great Tusk. Then if you also consider the Iron Bundle, again, also being a water type, you have a grass type attack for that. Now, granted, you are weak to the ice moves. That I understand. However, you do have good bulk here, and you do have a Citrus Berry. So in fact, let's also check that with this Tsareena investment. Are we able to live the Iron Bundle freeze dry stuff? And the answer is yes. We actually more than lived that, 70%. And then if you can even consider like what's that thing called, right? Chiyu. If it just neuters your special defenses, right? Beads of Ruin, right? So if we even consider Beads of Ruin on our Tsareena, we still live the freeze dry, which is actually very, very important. So Chiyu plus Iron Bundle does not pick up the Tsareena, at least with this investment in that regard. So there's that. But yeah, again, so Great Tusk, Iron Bundle, you do relatively well against. So that's pretty good as well. So like, look at all these Pokemon that you can do relatively well just because of the coverage that you have in terms of Power Whip, Play Rough, and then U-Turn. And then again with your bulk. And again, let's not forget about Queenly Majesty. So you're denying Sucker Punch, right? You're denying Jet Punch from the Palafin. You're denying Extreme Speed from the Arcanines and the Dragonites. Like that's so much already. Okay, and even the Kingambits, they can't click their Sucker Punches either. So, you know, just the fact that you're denying all these priority moves and then a lot of those teams, they don't even have speed control. So if they don't have their priority moves, what kind of speed control do they have on their team? Almost nothing. They very rarely have those Tailwind options. They very rarely have the Trick Room option. They're relying on their priority moves to get them past the redirection. But then if you just have Tsareena, like our friend 2D did, then it doesn't matter because then you just pair this with a Tailwind one and you'll have complete speed control for the rest of the game. All right, so let's take a look at 2D's team finally. Let's see what they have here in terms of some sets here. So you have the Iron Bundle, and then here's the Dragonite with Tailwind, so that's pretty good on their part. And then it does have Flood Mane. I think Tsareena does relatively well with Flood Mane because one way to beat the Flood Mane is to just use priority moves like, you know, Jet Punch, Sucker Punch, but then you just bring in Tsareena and then Flood Mane says, ha, now you can't do that anymore. So I really like Dragonite, Tsareena, Flood Mane as like a trio over here. I feel like the support from Tailwind makes both of these do relatively well. Then you add the Intimidate support from this Tauros, which is really nice because now you're taking care of the physical bulk on your side, okay? Then you just have, you know, this Fire, Water, Grass card with Chiyu, Iron Bundle, and Tsareena, okay? Also relatively okay. You do have speed control a little bit more with Iron Bundle, okay? And then in that regard, you combine that with Tailwind, and now you're in control. Trick Room stuff we're not really too worried about because, you know, we have ways that we can do it. And it's not really that relevant in that format anyway. But I do like what 2D has going on here with the Tailwind Dragonite. The Flutter Mane is able to capitalize. Same thing with like Paldea and Tauros with Dragonite leads is actually really, really nice. And the Trailblaze is also giving you more speed control because of the speed boost. So there's another way of getting that. So 3 ways, okay? Then you see the Tsareena set here. It does have U-turn along with Play Rough. So opting not to go for the high jump kick, which I very, very much encourage that you don't do the high jump kick because it's just absolutely devastating when you miss. And then you have Protect here with the Surge Sprays. That's pretty good. So yeah, I like how this team functions. And, you know, Tsareena does relatively well here. And it's a very, very good niche mod as long as you're able to support it with Tailwind support. I feel like that's very needed because other than that, your bulk is good, but it's not like super, super good. So you just have to be mindful of that in that regard. But it does well next to Dragonite. It does well next to some of these other balanced Pokemon cores. So shout outs again to 2D for utilizing Tsareena on a team like this. So yeah, I feel like I listed enough of its benefits. All right, and you know, and just let me know, like, what do you think of Tsareena in this kind of format? I really just wanted to make a video spotlighting Tsareena, and now that it has this key result, maybe some people are more than willing to try it, and you know, the fact that it works can give it some use on a certain team. I still think overall some of these grass types like Amoonguss and Wo-Chien are just overall better options, but you do have Tsareena to at least maybe not necessarily counter the meta, but at least able to counter priority moves, which is what it's supposed to be for. That's what a niche Pokemon's supposed to do. It's supposed to do its job. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 jobs, but it's just to do its job well. Not as splashable as some of the other options, but at the very least, you have 1 job and 1 job only, and that's to deny priority. And maybe, you know, again, exert pressure on some of those other Pokemon that we listed. Then you have some viability on the team. All right, but that's going to be it for now, guys. Let me know what you think of Tsareena. And again, if you're interested in coaching for regulationC, we just, you know, we're going through the Fort Wayne regionals right now. We just had one of our clients go 6-3, earning him 40 CP. So if that is also something you're interested in, if you want a team where you can potentially enter a regional and maybe get yourself some CP, you got to sign up for our coaching on the channel. Again, if you take a look at the video description or the comment section, we have a link where you can join with that tier 3 sub where we sit down in a one-on-one Discord call, and then you can you know, message me, and then we hash out the team that you need, whether it's for an online tour, a regional, or some other, you know, specific purpose. We'll get you the team that you need. We'll show you how to do the EV spreads, just like what we have here with our Tsareena, as well as some of our other teams. And hopefully you've been enjoying the rentals that we put out in the previous video. But yeah, if you're interested in coaching, again, sign up, click the link, and just let me know. All right, that's gonna be doing it for now, guys. Peace out and have a good night.